6 yards. He was wide open.
After the turnover.
He's got a man.
Harburg going deep. Caught.
The Huskers have finally turned that table, turned that corner that we needed them to see and finally seen. I'm going to tell you why the Huskers have finally turned the corner, and you will all see this starting this week in Iowa. You basically started seeing it against USC, and you saw more of it against Wisconsin. You're going to see it again in a big way this Friday. So if you haven't already, guys, please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. So what we've noticed here, and before I get into it, I'm going to tell you at the end why I feel like, and it's big of why now they're finally going to do it. And you're going to start seeing a big difference. And one, Dana Holgorsen, probably one of the most key reasons, he makes everyone earn their playing time by how they practice during the week, holding everyone accountable. And it doesn't matter who they are. And it's weird to hear that now we're all of a sudden being, held accountable when rules stated at the beginning of the season that in year 2, things that might have been let go in year 1 was not going to be tolerated in this year, in year 2. But suddenly it took Dana Holgorsen to come in and put his foot up these players' ass, figuratively speaking, to get a change, to get people to start waking up. Now, all of a sudden, we heard that message has changed, and all of a sudden, that Holgorsen is holding players accountable, and it didn't matter if you're a senior or you're a walk-on. If you practice and do well, you're going to play in the game, and if not, you're going to sit. I don't care who you are. You could be a 6-year senior, and if you're a walk-on and you show yourself, you're going to play. And we've seen it on a few of the positions. I know everybody's kind of pointed out tight end, and I don't think it's more about what Fedoni didn't do, and people want to think, oh, Fedoni ain't doing well. No, it's not, to me, that. Fedoni's realizing now, hey, I need to step up my game, and he's doing it. To me, it showed more about Holgorsen and Lindenmeyer. It just showed what they've done, what they've accomplished, and them being rewarded for what they're doing. And it's a little easier. I wouldn't say easier. It's if you got someone that's really, really good, and you got Thomas Fedoni who's really good, and he's already up there. It's hard to show an impression when you're already there. When you got players that maybe they're not as talented, not as good, and then they start shining and getting up there, it sticks out more because there was more room for improvement. And I think that's what you saw. So we saw it against Wisconsin, and I said it last year, beginning of the season, I was making prediction. I said it this year, at the beginning of the year season. I always told everybody the toughest win that Nebraska is going to have is win 6. Win 6 was going to be their toughest win because they couldn't get out of their own way. And you saw it last year. Got to 5 wins, couldn't get another one. 4 losses, 4 straight. Got here to 5-1, boom, started seeing it. So I was glad to see Rule said, hey, enough's enough. We need something new. We need somebody new. We're not getting through them. And he kind of said it in his press conference. He wasn't letting us know everything, and I think he kind of realized, look, I don't know what else to tell them. I can't get through with them. They'll get in practice and all that and do things, and then get to the game, and all of a sudden it's like they're a different team. They're different players, and it's because they kept getting in their own way. It didn't take much before mentally they'd collapse. Not all of them. Like you got Barney and them that just shines, but it doesn't take many bad apples in a barrel to ruin the whole barrel of apples. It's not, to me, and I don't know the reason, but it's not too shocking, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it more and more as the time goes on, as this next month goes on, mainly because they got to get down to 105 players. So about 30 or 40 players have to leave. But it's not too shocking to see Malachi Coleman enter the portal. And I don't know what happened, but this is how I see if anyone leaves. If someone comes in and holds you accountable and makes you earn a spot, that's when you find out who's in and who's not. And it's kind of ironic. Dana Holgerson comes in, does what he does in 2 or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you enter the portal. And I don't care if you're a 4-star, 5-star, and your greatest player. You don't want them kind of players on here. If you don't feel like you need to go in there and earn it, maybe you were given it, basically given the position. Maybe you were the most talented because the ones around you weren't that good. That's why having talent and in competition is the best thing for a team. You think Georgia and Ohio State and them, all their players are good. Dylan would have went there, man, he would have had to earn it. It wouldn't have been easy. And to me, that's probably where they messed up. They should have probably brought that player in, that transfer in to push him. Maybe they thought Harburg was, because he started 8 games and did well in 5, and they said he kept improving, and they thought a lot of it last year wasn't his fault. And so I'm thinking maybe they just thought he was enough. Maybe they thought Dylan or Daniel Kalen, because he was a elite player coming in here, and maybe they thought that's enough. And so to me, when you leave because you have to earn it, you have to show it, then to me you can leave. This is how I look at it. If you're leaving, there's only 2 or 3 reasons you could be leaving, and most of them are not good. If you're leaving because of personal reasons, you need to head back home, and you're, maybe not playing anymore, or the coaching staff is bad and they're not going anywhere, I could kind of maybe understand that. But we know that ain't the case with Malachi Coleman. This program is on the rise. We're seeing it now. And he's from Nebraska, so he's not going back home. The only other reasons is because, one, you feel like you started last year and you feel like you should have been starting this year. You felt like you just earned it last year, so you ought to be just giving it. Or someone's been offering you and talking to you because you hear that they're always communicating with these players saying, hey, we could give you this, we could give you that. And he's saying, oh, I could go over here and get this. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to leave. Either way, you don't want them players. That's how I look at it. You don't let them leave. You wouldn't want either one of those. That's not how you want your team. You're trying to pull this team out from a lull they've been in the last 10 years. So someone needs to hold them, come in and hold everybody accountable, make them earn their spot. And that's when you'll find out who's in and who's out. So to me, these players needed a wake up call mentally and emotionally. It's not because of talent or lack of why they lose these games and just can't get over that hump. And I've said it over and over again. Someone needed to put a foot up their ass and hold them accountable. Call them out during practice. If they leave, they leave. That's the type of player you don't want on the team anyway. If they're the greatest athlete, 4-star, 5-star, you got to remember these are 18, 19-year-old kids. They think they know everything. They're still learning, and they really haven't. They have a lot to learn. So Holgerson is exactly what these players needed. They actually needed him from day one. And it's a shame Rule couldn't work something out with Holgerson back in January when they met, as I feel this would be a very different team, a very different season if he had, as this team, this program, this culture needed someone to break it down and rebuild it from scratch. And that's what you're now seeing. Rule started it, but he needed a little more for the recipe. And I give Rule kudos for seeing this, because it's very unusual for a coach to make changes at all from a staff he picked, let alone in the middle of the season. How many times you've seen it? If Callahan would have decided, hey, I need to fire my defensive coordinator and fix that defense, we might have thought differently about Callahan. Same with all of them. They just seem for some reason they bring in their buddy and they don't want to do it. But to me, we're here to win, and I don't care if you're my brother. You're not doing the job. Hit the road. So they needed this attitude adjustment. And Rule saw, I need somebody. I need someone like Holgerson, and went out and got him. Didn't hold back, and he kind of admitted, he kind of showed his vulnerability. You noticed in his press conferences, he was kind of holding out and wouldn't put a lot of blame. And then all of a sudden, I think you saw it where he started calling him out a little bit. And I think he just got to the point going, I don't know what else to do. You know, I I've talked till my ears have fallen off, or my mouth fallen off, and their ears have fallen off. And he's like, I need an outside aspect of it. I mean, how many times you've done your job or done something and you can't figure something out, and you just need another set of eyes to come in here and maybe see something you didn't see because you got complacent of what you've been doing. And I think that's what he did. So he realized this team needs that little extra. It needs the right attitude adjustment. And and we knew that from the beginning, and it wasn't going to be easy, and it wasn't going to be overnight. And with Holgerson now holding everyone accountable, you will start you will start seeing others bow out, jump and run in the portal as he tries to cut out the cancer from this great program we have. He's kind of like Holgerson's kind of like a surgeon trying to locate all the cancer, hoping he could save the rest of the body. And to me, it's an attitude problem, an emotional and mental issue that most of these players have went through almost every loss over the last 5 or 6 years of losing them close ones. You can't tell me that not being able to pull it out every time, thinking, here we go again. I mean, come on, guys. We've lived through life. We're older. We've done things. And how many times you went, oh, here we go again. It's going to happen again. It's human nature, mainly when it's happening over and over and over and over and over again. I guarantee you last week, I know I did. Barney gave us a spark, that big old kickoff return, and then we go down and score that touchdown. You guys had to be thinking, I was feeling good. I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be different. This game's going to be different. I could just see it right now. And then Wisconsin drives down the field and scores a touchdown, make it 7-7. And I sit there and went, oh my God, here we go again. And you can't tell me someone didn't think that. And what do you think these 17, 18-year-old kids are doing? Here we go again. What's going to go wrong now? Remember at the end, we ain't going to be able to pull it out. So to me, his way of doing things, his calling people out in practice, pound, do it. And if you screw up next, doesn't mean you can't get back on there. Doesn't mean you can't go back and earn it the next time. Because remember, at the end, when you do it this way, when you have all this talent, and like I said, Georgia brings in all that talent, Ohio State brings in all that talent. Why do you think they stay so good? Why do you think Nebraska was so good back in the 90s? They were talented all over the place. You had people like, Damon Benning and Lawrence Phillips and Tommy Frazier and even Behringer. They pushed the next one and pushed them to the point they were the best they could be. They weren't handed anything. They weren't given anything. It was a attitude adjustment. And at the end, the cream always rises to the top. So Holgerson's style, his attitude, and accountability, the harsh, to the point, what you need to be told attitude, is what exactly this team needs. I'll give you an example of the blocking. Take the blocking, not only on the offensive line, but the wide receivers perimeter blocking. Remember, that kept being a problem all year. And they kept saying, we're working on it. The difference, the perimeter blocking has been since Dana has been here, just in the 2 or 3 weeks. And trust me, he doesn't have a magic wand that he went, oh, this is how you do it. He just said, guys, you're big guys. You're like 6'2", 6'3". Come on, this is pathetic. Look at yourself. He just called him out on it. And boom, look at the last 2 weeks, the blocking on the perimeter, the blocking at the line. He just called them out. Sometimes you need someone from the outside to come in and tell you what you need to hear, what everyone else is seeing but doesn't want to say. Kind of that look in the mirror aspect. And you kind of start seeing that against USC. I think that's when the light bulb went on. I understand we only scored 13 points offensively, but we all kind of saw what was happening and said, you know what? Yeah, they lost. But man, I kind of saw a little difference there. And I think one, Dylan saw it. That's why you had that strong, we could do this during the off week, during this last week, because he saw, hey, I could see this. And Dan Overson was still learning the play, still learning. He's learning more and more every day. And the more we go, the more he gets. And I like how when he finds a play that works, he runs it again. How many times you've seen it? We've had a play that works and then you never see it again. But yet they'll run a play it doesn't work and they'll run it over and over again, sometimes back to back. Basically, he runs plays, finds them that works. If they don't work, he throws them out. If they work, he keeps running. He keeps running them to the point the defense is probably tired of seeing it. Basically telling the defense, if you're tired of me running this play, then stop it. Give you an example. Me and my brother, we were big PlayStation fans. Played Madden, played college football, and we both kind of did it, even though he admitted he didn't. But I'd find a few plays, I'd find a handful of plays that worked, and I'd run them again. And I was here, well, you're running the same play. Yeah. If you don't want me to run it, stop it. That's how you do it. That's why he's been successful. That's why he has top 10 defenses all his life in the nation, not in his conference. He's went to West Virginia, to Houston, and had some of the top offenses in the country at them schools. What can he do at a school like Nebraska? I hope he stays. And I know it's still up in the air if he's staying, but he made the comment he's happy with what he's doing. And I think in Nebraska, the fans in them are going to show him. He's going to see the love and all that he gets here. He made the remark he was a lot happier now calling plays than he was when he was head coach. So to me, that's what he wants to do. The question is, are we going to give him what he's wanting? And I don't know what he's wanting, and he doesn't know what he's doing. But I think he's enjoying it, and he's only going to get a little taste of it. That's the good thing about he's only going to do 2 or 3 games plus the bowl game. And mainly if we win all of these, if we win the rest of these games, he's got to be one of those that goes, what could I do if I was here the whole year? To the point also that Rule and the AD is going to come back and go, what do you want? Just tell us what you want. I know the fans will. Fans are going to love him. You know, we're going to love a coach just as much as we're going to love the player making the play. And he's got Dylan Raiola for another couple of years, at least a couple more years. I don't think he's walking away, but I don't really know. He doesn't know. We'll find that out probably after the bowl game. We might find out after this week. But I know he did say his goal right now, his plan right now is to to coach and call plays in the bowl game. He's going to be a part of that 15 practices, which he said they didn't normally get. You know, mainly with recruiting and all that, he didn't get to do all that. Man, if you're playing like a December 15th bowl game, basically you only practice the week of, kind of like a game week. And so, you might not like someone like Holgorsen. You might not like someone who's blunt and just tells you how it is, but it doesn't take away from if it's true or not. Just because they don't say it, don't call you out on it, don't hold it against you, doesn't mean it's not true. I'd rather have someone that's upfront, just tells me how it is. I might not like what they have to say, but tells me how it is, than someone that doesn't. Because if something's wrong, you gotta fix it, or you're gonna collapse. It ain't gonna just go away. And I'll give you an example. Some of you know that I hold a private pilot's license, and I fly a Cessna 172. I fly 182, and I even flown a Merritt. And my dad was a pilot, so I've been in an airplane all my life. And I'm going to tell you about if you put an airplane in a spin. And for y'all that don't understand what a spin is, first things first is that's when one wing stalls, but the other wing isn't. And a stall is when the wings lose lift. Because how it works, the shape of the wing and the airflow and the pressure causes lift. And that's what gives the airplane go. And when you make a turn, that's basically changing the shape of the wing to the point where you're losing lift in one and not the other. And what happens is a spin is the lack of losing or stalling one wing and not the other, and it starts spinning and spiraling down, and you're going to go spinning and crashing down if something ain't done. And you need to change something. You need to come out of that by correcting it before you end up crashing and burning. And that's kind of what you're seeing here. And since we've now taken that leap and gotten over that hurdle, and you saw the difference in this team last week, man, they put their foot down. And I love with Holgerson that he didn't take his foot off the pedal. They could have easily just, we got a lead. Let's just run the clock. It's an attitude thing. I think it was an attitude adjustment. Let Holgerson do it. Because what we kept seeing, they get to the second half and say, "Oh, I'm just playing, we didn't need to go all out. We're trying to just win." And then, to me, they were playing more like not to lose than to win, where Hogan's like, "We're going to chunk it. Dylan's on fire." And so I feel like because of this, you're going to see a big difference, and you're going to start seeing it here. And why are we going to see it here? One, I was not a big press man-on-man press defense. They run a lot of zone, and yes, they could end up running man, but that's not anything they do well. And the one thing Dylan is outstanding with is he could pick apart a zone. And you know what? He's a true freshman. And I know they've probably seen it on tape, but I also think they're going to go, "Hey, we're going to play our game." And they're going to have to learn it for themselves. And don't be surprised if somewhere in the game they might try to start mixing it up, maybe playing a little man, bringing that pressure. I think they're going to bring pressure anyway. But because of that, and with now Holgerson having another week, putting them more in, because one he talked about was the playbook was too big, that each coach would have ideas and they kept adding to this playbook, adding to it. And he said to the point it was huge. And he goes, in the NFL, you could do that because players will be at a team for 7, 8, 9, 10 plus years. College, you don't get that. You might get 3 or 4 years. That's it. Nowadays, you might not get that and they move on. Or they might come in and only play a year or two. So he had to simplify it. And what he does, they go through a game plan. Now, they still have the whole playbook. So the great thing is they could run these plays, but next week they might run different plays. You see what I'm saying? They might take a few there that might have worked, might have took a few that didn't work and said, "Let's try them on this one." So he takes it. They come up as a team, as a coaching staff, a game plan, and he has it on this huge card. You see him, and that's all he goes with is this card. And if they work and they work well, that's one he circles because we're coming back to that one. If there's one that just ain't working, might try it a couple times, well, we're not running that one again. And he sticks with it. And that's what you do. And the more he learns, the more he learns the playbook, the terminology, the more he adds, he's got more options. And the next week, you're going to start seeing it more. And you're going to see it more. You saw it in the USC game, you saw a little spark. Then you saw it in the Wisconsin game. And now you're going to see it in the Iowa game. And to me, you're going to see a big jump, especially in that bowl game. And that's where I'm hoping Nebraska could pull all these out to the point you got Holgerson thinking, "What can I do? Man, what could I have done if I was here the whole year? I'm thinking, what could he have done with here the whole year? So to me, the sky's the limit. So to me, Nebraska wins this game and wins it big. And I feel like they'll win this game 45-10. Yes, 45-10. And we beat Colorado, we beat Wisconsin, and we beat Iowa in the same year. We have 7 wins. Even we don't win the bowl, to me, this is a successful year. Nobody thought we were going to the playoffs. No one thought we were going to go undefeated. I had them winning probably 8 or 9 games. I think I had them 8-4 if I remember right. But realistically, to me, this is a success. We've gotten to a bowl. That's a step. And I feel like either way, they're going to win at least one more of these games. I feel like they're going to win both, but they're going to, at minimum, win one of these games. So, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Doesn't cost you anything. Just to click that button, maybe give it a thumbs up, gets it out in that logarithm, passes it out to other people. And I'm going to the game. Got 2 tickets to Iowa. I'm going to go up there and freeze my nuts off. But this time we're going to do it and win the game. Last year I went to the Iowa game. It was pretty cold there, but it's even going to be colder. I heard the highs are going to be in the low 20s. Plus, it's a night game. It's going to drop down in the teens. It's going to be cold. But you know what? Going there to support the team. And I'll talk to you guys when I get back, do the video, and we'll talk about how they did and what's the next step for this team and where we're headed. So, guys, thank you for watching. Till the next video, go Big Red.